this video, we're going to be talking about section 2.3, writing linear equations, but it's day 2 this time. Okay, just a reminder, we have point-slope form. Y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1, where x1, y1 is our point and m is our slope. Slope-intercept form also has m as the slope, but this time b is our y-intercept. That's the form y equals mx plus b. And then lastly, standard form is ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are all integers. All right, we have an example here. It says write an equation of the line in point-slope form with the given information. So it gives us a slope, it gives us a slope, and it gives us a point. So again, point-slope form is y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1. So we're going to fill in what we know. This is our x1, y1, and our slope is m. So we have y minus, our y1 is -7, equals 2/3, which is the m, times x minus our x1 was 2. Simplify this a little bit to get y plus 7 equals 2/3 times the quantity x minus 2. All right, again, that is in point-slope form, so we are done. Okay, another example. This time it says, again, in point-slope form, but this time it passes through these 2 points, 6, -2, and 12, 1. So we have 2 points. Remember, point-slope form, we want the slope as well. So we have to use the slope formula, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. If this is my x1, y1, and my x2, y2, and I fill that in, y2 is going to be 1 minus y1 is -2 over x2, 12 minus 6. So 1 minus -2 is like 1 plus 2, which is 3. 12 minus 6 is 6. That simplifies to be a slope of 1/2. So now m is 1/2, and I'm going to use my points. Let's go 6, -2. You could use either point there. I'm just going to use the first one. So now if I put it into my formula, y minus y1 equals the slope x minus x1 for point-slope form. That is y minus -2 or y plus 2 equals the slope 1/2 times the quantity x minus 6. All right. Moving on. Here we're going to use slope-intercept form. Okay, this first example says it's going to have a slope of -9/7 and a y-intercept of 4. So remember, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So m, again, is the slope. B is the y-intercept. So if I replace these parts, y equals -9/7 m plus 4. Next example is a little bit harder. Again, slope-intercept form, but this time we have a slope of 2 and it passes through a point. All right, so we're going to have to actually start in point-slope form because that's what they give us, a point and a slope, but we're going to change it to be slope-intercept. So let's start with point-slope form. Y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1. Fill in what I know. If this is my x1, y1 over here, we're going to have y minus 10 equals 2, the slope, times the quantity x minus a -6 over x plus 6. Y minus 10 equals, we're going to distribute first and get 2x plus 12. And then remember, we're trying to write this in slope-intercept form, so we want it solved for y, which means I need to add this 10 over to the other side, and that's going to give me y by itself equals 2x plus 12. So now it's in the form y equals mx plus b, so we're done. All right, next example says it's going to pass through this point, 3.57, and point B, -1, 20.5. All right, I'm going to start with the slope formula, which is, let's see, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. going to call this my x1, y1 for my first point, x2, y2 for my second point. So if I plug this in, this is going to be 20.5 minus 7 over -1 minus 3.5, which happens to be 13.5 over -4.5. And if we simplify that, divided by 4.5, that gives us -3. Okay, so the slope I'm using is going to be m equals -3, and then again, I'm going to pick probably the easier point. I think that's 3.57. Okay, so now I have a point and a slope, so I can use point-slope form, and then again we'll transfer that to slope-intercept. So we have y minus my y1 is 7 equals the slope -3 times x minus x1 is 3.5. Distribute this in, and we get y minus 7 equals -3x minus 10.5. Okay, we are going to solve for y by adding 7 to both sides. And I'm going to bring that over here. So we get y equals -3, bad 3. Y equals -3, there we go, x minus 3.5. Okay, and now it's in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. All right, last one, slope-intercept form says the x-intercept is going to be 5 and the y-intercept is 1. We could do this a couple different ways. Let's see, let's do, well, we already have our b, right? Our b is going to be -1, that's the y-intercept. And then think about this. Real quick, if you think graphically that our x is at 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, x-intercept is right there, and our y-intercept is down at -1. The slope to go from, if I pick a different color here, this point to this point, I would have to go up 1 and over 5. So you might even be able to mentally think of that as a slope of 1/5. So since that is our slope and we already have a y-intercept, we can just say y equals 1/5 x minus 1, or y equals mx plus b for slope-intercept form. All right, standard form. That's our next type. We're going to write these given a different information here. The first one, it says y equals -3x plus 5. First off, let's remember standard form. We didn't talk too much about this yesterday. It's the form ax plus by equals c, right? Where a, b, and c are all integers. So in order to do that, we need to get rid of fractions. We need the x and y on the same side, and usually they make it so that this a in front of the x is positive. Okay, let's try that with this one. Here, there are no fractions, so we're going to move our x term over so the x and y are on the same side. And let's see, it's going to be -3x plus y equals, those cancel, 5. Right, and then just to get the a term positive, I'm going to multiply everything times -1, which will make this positive 3x minus 1y, or minus y, equals -5. Okay. This next one, y minus 4 equals -1/3 times the quantity x minus 6. I'm going to multiply everything times the denominator in our fraction right here. The denominator is 3. By doing that, that's going to eliminate this fraction. I have to multiply it to the y, the -4, and this term, -1/3 times x minus 6. This is all one term right here. Okay, so we get 3y minus 12. The reason I picked the 3 is because 3 and -1/3, the fractions cancel and we're just left with this negative out front. so negative the quantity x minus 6. All right, now what I can do is distribute that in, and I'm left with 3y minus 12 equals negative x plus 6. I'm going to move my constants to the right, so I'll move the 12 over by adding it. I'm going to move my x to the left, plus x. And that gives me x plus 3y equals 18. All right, the x and y are on the same side. There's no fractions, so we are done. All right, next example says that we want this in standard form when it passes through the 2 points, 3, -1, and 2, -3. Okay, so similar to the other ones, we're going to start using our slope formula. Okay. If you need to write down x1, y1, x2, y2, that's fine. I'm just going to do it without doing that. So my x2 is -3 minus my y2 is -3 minus a negative y1, -1 over 2 minus 3. All right, those add to give me -2. And on the bottom here, that's -1. So this simplifies to be a +2. So my slope I'm using is 2. And let's see, I'm going to pick this first point to use, which is 3, -1. Now I have a slope and a point, so I'm going to put it in point slope form. Y minus a -1 is y plus 1 equals 2 times the quantity x minus 3. All right, I'm going to distribute my 2 in, and I get y plus 1 equals 2x minus 6. Okay, again, we're going to put our 1 on the other side by subtracting it, and I'm going to move my 2x over, also subtracting. Let's come up here. 1's cancel, the x's cancel. So on the left side, that leaves me with -2x plus y equals -6 minus 1 is -7. Again, we want the term, or the coefficient in front of our x to be positive. So multiply everything times -1 to do that. And that gives me 2x, positive 2x minus y equals +7. Yeah, it's in the form ax plus by equals c. So that one's done. All right, last one passes through the points 10, 6, and -12, -5. Why don't you pause right here, and I will too, and we'll see if we all get it correct. All right, one thing I want to point out on this one is that I multiplied by my denominator pretty much right away as soon as I put it in point slope form. What that does is it gets rid of my fractions right away. There's no more fractions in the next step. But be careful that you count this all as one term and you don't multiply those 2 to too many spots. Okay, when you do that and do the math, move it all over, you end up with a -x. So I did have to multiply times -1 to make my a in front of my x positive. And that gives me x minus 2y equals 2. Okay, vertical and horizontal lines. We're going to write equations of both of these. Let's see, write the equation of the vertical and horizontal line that go through each point. So, since this is our x and this is our y, it has to go through the point, or it has to go through where x equals 2. And that is going to be the vertical line. This one also has to go through the horizontal line, y equals -3. Similarly, on this one, x will equal 5, y equals 6, the vertical and horizontal lines. All right, and we're going to stop there for today. Your assignment is on my math lab. It is the 2.3 day 2 assignment.